Hat, sunglasses, Pepsi, notes, sources, thick skin, check. You already know. Let's go. Welcome to Golden Blue today, everybody. This is a college football channel. So if you like college football, hit the like and subscribe button. It's that simple. Also, send gear to represent your team and be a part of my background forever. All you have to do is send it to P.O. Box 360, Liberty, South Carolina 29657. And don't forget to check out our Patreon page. We have a lot of great perks over there. The perk that people seem to enjoy the most, of course, is the score prediction contest where we award $20 every single week to whoever gets closest to the actual score of the game that I pick. We also did a championship week. I will award $25 to that winner. And right now is the best time to join Patreon because we are going to do the bowl prediction contest. First place prize will win $50. Second place prize is an autographed golden blued flat bill hat. And the third place prize is a shout out. And the more Patreons we get, the higher we can bump up the prize. So if we get up to $300 worth of Patreon pledges, we will bump up the prize to $75. If we get up to $400 worth of Patreon pledges, we'll bump the prize up to $100, and so on and so forth. So there's even an incentive for current Patreon members to encourage other people to join Patreon. That way the prize goes even higher. I'll leave the link to the Patreon page in the description of this video. Carline, who's in the Carline? Yep, that's right, me again, golden blued, and once again, it's raining. But some of these turned out well, some of these turned out to be a flop. I'll let you be the judge of that. And so, some weird news coming out of the FCS. It looks like two of the FCS conferences are trying to merge, and not only are they trying to merge, they're trying to make the jump to FBS. I've never heard of this before. Maybe it has happened in the past, but I've never heard of this. And the two conferences are the ASun and the WAC. And this is a football-only conference. So the teams that play basketball, they're going to stay in the ASun and the WAC separately. And remember, the Big 12 is interested in Gonzaga, who's in the WAC. So the WAC could lose Gonzaga as far as basketball goes. But this is football only. So for the ASun, Jacksonville State was in the ASun, but they've gotten bumped up. They will be joining Conference USA. But the teams left behind, Austin Peay, Eastern Kentucky, Central Arkansas, Kennesaw State, and North Alabama, they will be merging with the remainder of the WAC, who had Sam Houston State, who also made the jump to Conference USA. And the remaining teams are Abilene Christian, Stephen F. Austin, Southern Utah, Utah Tech, and Tarleton. So those two conferences are looking to merge and to get bumped up to the FBS. I don't know who came up with this idea, but I'm not so sure if this is a good idea. I don't know if this is going to make a lot of money. I don't know all the legal ramifications of all this, but one team in each of these conferences are already making the jump up by joining Conference USA. I'm guessing, this is just a guess, maybe the remainder of these teams actually applied to Conference USA and Conference USA turned them down. That's just a guess. I don't know. So now they're trying to join forces and create their own league in a merger and jump to the FBS. So that got me to thinking, what if other teams in other FCS conferences want to jump to FBS and they all got together and formed their own conference as well? Well, there are some teams out there that I think have the capabilities, the brand, the money-making, the revenue-producing abilities to where they could do this. So what about future split-offs from the FCS? I think the first names that come to mind to me are South Dakota State and North Dakota State. Both of those two teams are in the Missouri Valley, and they have been dominating the FCS. In fact, they are in the playoffs this year for the national championship of the FCS. North Dakota State will be taking on Sanford. And North Dakota State, even though they're 10-2 and Sanford is 11-1, they are an 18.5 point favorite. Same thing with South Dakota State. They are hosting Holy Cross, who is an undefeated 12-0. South Dakota State is 11-1, and South Dakota State is a 19 point favorite. Two teams of the Big Sky that I think could split off is Montana and Montana State. One of those two teams is still in the playoffs, and that's Montana State. They will be hosting William & Mary. Both of those teams 11-1, and Montana State is the 8.5 point favorite in that game. Those are the four names that immediately pop out to me that I would be willing to guess might split off in the near future, whether it's joining a current Group of 5 conference or splitting off with some of these other teams and creating their own FBS Group of 5 conference. But there's some other teams out there. 3 teams out of the Southern Conference: Sanford, Furman, and Wofford. Those three teams have had a lot of success in the Southern. I think they would be able to make a jump. And then out of the SWAC, Jackson State. I know they just lost Deion Sanders, so they might not be as good as what they were, but they still have a great brand. Southern and Florida A&M. That would be 10 teams. Those 10 teams right there could split off and create their own conference. Now, logistics and traveling, that would have to get figured out. So I think it's more possible if some of these teams get accepted into a Group of 5 conference. That's my next question. with this merger between the ASun and the WAC, will they be recognized as an FBS conference? Will it be the group of 6 conferences? Could another group of 5 conference be picked apart to where they don't exist anymore and this merger takes their place? A lot of questions go into this. So this opens up a whole nother can of worms. I don't know how it's going to work out for these teams. I think it's an interesting concept. I don't know how scheduling is going to work as far as who they play in the Power 5 conferences, because remember, Power 5 conferences usually schedule one FCS opponent, and a lot of these teams are that FCS opponent. Will they still be that opponent if they're not FCS anymore? I don't know. What I do know is this is football only. This is not going to affect basketball. So the teams that are in these conferences in basketball, you're fine as of right now. We'll see what happens in the future. But this opens up a whole new avenue as far as what could happen in the future in the FCS division. A lot of people were asking me, going to Blue, who do you think could get bumped up in the next round of conference realignment from FCS to FBS? Because Jacksonville State and Sam Houston State, they've already done it. Well, I listed out pretty much all the names that I think could be bumped up next. Montana, Montana State, South Dakota State, North Dakota State, Sanford, Furman, Wofford, Jackson State, Southern, and Florida A&M. They are at the top of my list as far as the next FCS teams that could be bumped up to the FBS. And I do think that the group of 5 conference do need to split off and create their own national championship. Because think about this, the Power 5, they have their own playoffs and national championship, and yes, technically Cincinnati did make it last year, the first time ever a group of 5 team made it. I think it'll be the first and only time a group of 5 team make it, and I know the playoff expansions are going to happen, and the top 6 conference champions will get in, so that will guarantee one spot of the best group of 5 champion gets in the playoffs. But still, the rest of the group of 5 teams, they really don't have anything to play for, so they can keep that rule intact, and then whoever doesn't make the Power 5 playoffs, they could have their own playoffs and their own national championship. I mean, the FCS, they have their own national championship. So that's the one thing that I'd say would hurt these teams as far as Austin Peay, Eastern Kentucky, Central Arkansas, Kennesaw State, North Alabama, Abilene Christian, Stephen F. Austin, Southern Utah, Utah Tech, Tarleton. Now they can't play for a national championship because they are being bumped up to FBS instead of FCS, so they can't qualify for FCS playoffs. And you know they're never making the Power 5 playoffs. That's just not happening. A miracle would have to happen, and we don't have a miracle that's big enough to allow one of those teams to make the playoffs. So now they don't have a national championship to play for unless the group of 5 conferences create their own national championship. Like I said, they can keep the rule intact where the highest group of 5 champion still gets into the Power 5 playoffs, but then the rest of the teams, they still have their own playoffs and national championship that they could play for. I've actually been for that idea for a long time, way before this merger was announced. So I think that idea is still in play. I still think it's a good idea, and I think it would give all group of 5 teams something to play for as far as a playoff or a national championship. And who knows, maybe Conference USA is looking at some of these teams. Montana, Montana State, South Dakota State, North Dakota State, Sanford, Furman, Wofford, Jackson State, Southern, Florida A&M. Remember, the conference is called Conference USA, so they aren't sticking to a specific region. They could get teams from all over the map from the FCS to join Conference USA, and maybe it would make it a stronger conference, because right now, I'm going to be honest, Conference USA is a joke of a conference. It is most definitely the weakest conference of them all. Weaker than the MAC. I think the MAC is in a better position than Conference USA right now. And why Liberty? Why did Liberty join Conference USA? That absolutely blew my mind. I thought Liberty could join either the AAC or the Sun Belt. Both of those choices would have been better than Conference USA. But hey, maybe they were looking to just dominate a conference, and Conference USA could be that conference that they dominate. Remember, Hugh Freeze went on to Auburn, but they went out and got Jamie Chadwell from Coastal Carolina. So I don't think Liberty is falling off anytime soon. I just thought it was a bit of a head scratcher that Liberty joined Conference USA. That didn't make any sense whatsoever. Very, very weak conference. So y'all let me know in the comments section what you think about this merger between the ASun and the WAC making the jump to the FBS. And what do you think about my idea as far as the group of 5 conferences creating their own playoffs and national championship, but still the highest ranked champion of the group of 5 still gets to go to the Power 5 playoffs. That's all I got for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.